What's up, guys? Maverick Kid here, coming to you again. How's everybody doing out there? Day 3 of Opinion Spot Week once again, and I'm delivering again, as always, some of the great comic-related cartoons from the past. So far, I've given you The Incredible Hulk, and yesterday I talked about Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. Today, I am here to talk about one season in particular of the 90s Fantastic Four cartoon, and that's season 2. Yes. Why season 2 only, kid? You may be asking yourself. Well, particularly because I wasn't really a big fan of the first season when it first aired. It was just too campy, too lighthearted in terms, and I just didn't really get into that one. So both the Iron Man and Fantastic Four cartoon, which was a part of the Marvel Action Hour, they really went back and retooled the whole season in terms of sporting a new opening sequence, improving the animation, which was really well done. The animation from the second season was provided by the Philippine animation studio, and it had more of a mature writing, which was overseen by a man called Tom Tatarawinski. I hope I'm saying his name right. And of course, there was a little bit of an intro. They used more of the Baxter Bullet instead of the Ford Freedom Plaza. Another big thing about season 2 was that this season, guys, which was a 13 episode, was really just all it was. If you are a fan of this man, and if you are, thank you very much, because I am truly a big fan of this man. All this was John Byrne's 1980s run of the Fantastic Four series, as well as John Buscema's artwork. As you can tell, their uniforms were a little bit more darker blue than in the first season, and of course, they still kind of integrated a little bit of Stan Jack and Mr. Lee's adventures as well. But it totally had a very bit bigger feel to it than season 1. Just all around, it was just in a way, guys. The way I look at it, season 2 was superior to season 1. The first episode really kicked off really well, the season premiere, which was called A Blind Man Shall Lead Them. And this episode guest starred Daredevil, which was really good. It was basically Dr. Doom had kidnapped Sue and Lord Reed, Johnny, and Ben to his island, where he had basically set off a bomb. And instead of killing them, thanks to Sue putting up her force field, what it did was depower them for a while. And in that episode, they were depowered. Nobody had their power, so Ben was back to being normal Ben, and he kind of enjoyed that. And but Doom kept coming at them. So in terms, Alicia Masters, Ben's girlfriend, went to an old friend, Matt Murdock. And who is Matt Murdock? So Daredevil basically helped out in that episode, and it was fun. The ending was really good because the only way to stop Doom from destroying the Baxter building was if Ben was the closest to this machine that Reed had created that gave them their powers, and Ben made the ultimate sacrifice in that episode. I remember it was really well done. He was like, "I'm sorry, Alicia," and he turned back into the Thing, and he went after Doom, and he broke Doom's hands. He crushed his hands, and he was literally going to kill Doom for turning him back into the Thing. And it it wasn't until Reed came up there and was like, Ben, stop, we're not murderers. And he crushed Doom's hand, and that lasted for pretty much the whole season, the rest of the season, which was good. Continuity. I love continuity. They had some excellent episodes. This was the season that introduced, we got the Inhuman Saga, which was great. We saw Madame Medusa. She was a part of the Frightful Four with the Wizard. The Wizard was voiced by, if I'm not mistaken, Ron Perlman did the voice of the Wizard. And you had Medusa was on there, Hydro Man. You got to remember, Hydro Man was who had just appeared on Spider-Man as well, so it was cool. The Trapster and things like that, so we got to see them. And then of course they got into the Inhuman Saga with Crystal, when Johnny met Crystal. And Crystal, who was she voiced by again? I think she was voiced by Kathy Ireland. And we saw my favorite of the Inhumans, Karnak. We saw the Gorgon. We saw Trigon. We saw, of course, Black Bolt. And that was really funny right there. I remember that episode really well. Black Bolt came out, and Thing was like, Black Bolt, huh? When I get through with you, they're going to be calling you Black and Blue. And he just cold-cocked Thing one time. And Johnny was like, oh, he decked Ben out with one punch. That's impossible. The Thing's the strongest human on Earth. And he's like, yeah, well, he just met number one, and it was great. That was a good episode. They got into Psycho Man, and Psycho Man turned Susan into Malice, which was really good. We saw an episode called The Prey, the Black Panther. Black Panther guest starred in there, and who better to voice Black Panther but the great Keith David. Man, he was really good. And they got into they did a very good job in 30 minutes to tell Panther's origin and talk about what happened what Claw did to his father, T'Chaka. They went into what else they went into? They went into Ego, the living planet, and him and Galactus had a feud going, and Thor guest starred on that episode. They went into and I remember that episode where Galactus, he was on Earth along with Frankie Ray, who had her fire powers, and on the planet Earth, Galactus had to feed, so he had no choice but he was going to feed off of Earth, even though he made a promise that he wouldn't do it. And all the heroes started to come out to fight Galactus. Thor, and then at the last moment, Ghost Rider came and he did the pennant stare to Galactus. It was really cool. Oh man, it just was really well done. The second season really, I urge you to, you can, even though it's on DVD, all 26 episodes are on DVD. I say you can fast forward the first 13 episodes of the first season, in my opinion, and go right to the second season. There was so much to deal with and such great adult theme and dark tone to it, but it made sense to go that route. They went, of course, with they brought back Johnny and Sue's dad, Franklin Storm, and he was pretty much arrested for murdering his wife, but it wasn't true. And he was killed by the Skrulls right in front of everybody. They blew him up right there, and it was crazy. That was right there, just showed you like, oh my god, like they went a little bit overwhelmed with that. They even brought in the Impossible Man, which was really good. He was being tracked by Super Skrull. And of course, you cannot say, but yeah, they brought in the Hulk, and they had the great Hulk Thing fight in there, which was really well done. Ron Perlman once again voiced Ben. He voiced the Hulk and Dr. Bruce Banner at the same time, and Doom was trying to get his revenge on the Thing, so he tricked the Hulk into thinking that the the Fantastic Four had stole Rick Jones from him as a friend, and Hulk came in there. He's like, Hulk will fight ugly rock monster, get Rick back, and it was really funny. I know they played off the whole third person talk for Hulk, but it was still well done. And Thing just got his ass whooped through that in that whole fight. I remember when Rick was trying to explain to Hulk that he didn't betray him. Johnny was like, Rick, what is he talking about? And Hulk will fight Thing, and then Hulk will fight Fireboy, and then Johnny threw a fireball, and then I remember Hulk saying, Hulk got tricked for Fireball, and he did his famous seismic slap, and it was that was so great. The animation, and like I said, the animation was very well done. It was so great to see this get a revamp in this series. But despite the retooling of the series, it still got canceled. After the series finale was called Doomsday. But this was done right before Black Bolt had freed the Inhumans from this dome that was around Attilan. This he basically talked, so we got to see what happens when Black Bolt talks, and he crushed this dome that was covering Attilan, and Johnny and Crystal were reunited again. It was touching. But the Doomsday device was Dr. Doom had acquired the power cosmic from the Silver Surfer. Silver Surfer returned. He was in the first season, but he returned in this season, and he had this very cool speech. I loved how he talked. He had like a metallic talk to him, but very calm and poetic. And I remember he was sitting down with a group of animals, and he was talking about, I have much to learn about this planet, because he was, what was he? He was exiled to planet Earth, and he couldn't leave Earth because that's what Galactus did to him for betraying him. And he was talking to the animals, and he was like, I don't understand why the humans of here call you beast, because I don't sense any kind of animalistic nature in your hearts and things like that. It was well done. It was really well done. I really enjoyed how they did the Surfer in this, and then of course Doom required the Surfer's powers again, just like in the comic books. And Doom he had the power cosmic for a while until he was given back to him. The only way he can get it back was if he I think it was he tried to leave Earth, in terms of, because Reed kind of goaded him into something, and to basically show off his superior intellect between his rival Reed Richards. He went after Reed Richards' machine to destroy it, and he hit the barrier, and the Surfer's powers went back to the Surfer, and it was really well done. There were other characters that guest starred in this series. Everybody who played Bo Weaver, who played Mr. Fantastic, was done very well. Lori Allen, who was Invisible Woman, Sue, she was done. Quentin Flint was done very well as Johnny Storm, and Chuck McCain, who was Ben, was well done. I loved his voice. I loved how Ben, when he walked, or when you heard him move around, you heard like the rocks, his rock skin like crumble or so. When he walked, it was like boom, 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 showing how heavy he was. I really enjoyed that. Because in the first season, Johnny was played by another character, another actor. His name was Brian Austin Green. And of course, John Vernon came back to do Doom's voice. And then in the second season, I think, his voice was changed to Neil Ross. And then the third season became Simon Templeman. So there was three guys who voiced Doctor Doom in the seasons. Geez, I'm trying to remember. There were some other characters that came into the series. Man. Oh, there we go. Terax the Tamer. He was in there and was really good. But this was just a very good season compared to the first season, guys. That's why I'm only talking about this season. This season was positive in terms of the fans. You know, we the fans really liked this season more of the first season. But yeah, it got canceled. It was sorry to say. I wish it didn't because in retrospect, the producer who basically the supervisor producer Tom Tatarikskin basically said, and I hope I'm saying his name right again, is that if there had been a third season, they would have wanted to go with the whole Susan pregnancy story arc, and they also would have given, and he also would have talked about giving the production crew a chance to do their own take on Namor the Submariner. The Submariner came in the first season, but to me he was kind of done lackluster. I didn't like how they portrayed him. So they would have really done that, and of course they would have brought in Medusa and She-Hulk into the mix as part of the Fantastic Four, so to replace like Sue when she was in her pregnancy state. And I would have loved to see where they would have went with that. But overall, guys, season 2 of the Fantastic Four 90s series was done really well. Like I said, you know, despite everything, the series started September 24th, 1994, and ended February 24th, 1996. And of course, this would be the second season of the third incarnation of a Fantastic Four cartoon. Because if you remember, there was the 1960s one, which was done by Hanna-Barbera, which only lasted 20 episodes, and then they did the 1970s version, which didn't have Johnny Storm in it. It had Herbie. They brought Herbie in to replace him. I think there was some kind of lawsuit or so because they couldn't add Johnny Storm. And then, of course, they did the Fantastic Four World's Greatest Heroes season, which ran for 2 seasons in that, or so to speak. And that show was okay, but that focused too much off of the movie, in my opinion, which I didn't like too much. But like I said, the season 2 of this series it was great. It had cameos from all over. I mean, you saw cameos from the Scarlet Spider, from Juggernaut. It had continuity with all that was going on with all the other Marvel animated cartoons. Like, for example, remember when Juggernaut was thrown by the Gladiator, and he finally landed in the East River, and you saw him coming out of the East River off the bridge, the Brooklyn Bridge. You saw that in the episode. It was done very well. You saw the Avengers. You saw the New Warriors. You saw there were so many cameos in this. You saw Wolverine, Jean, Storm. They were just cameos out the woodwork. This was the best season, guys. No doubt about it. That's pretty much what I can sum up, which I will explain to you guys. Very much the best season of the 90s Fantastic Four. I'm not saying that you don't have to like the first season, but in retrospect, comparing it to the second season, not very well. It's the second season that done the best, in my opinion. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. And what did you guys think of? You know, you could tell me as a whole, or you can tell me how you felt about the second season. But other than that, this is day 3 of Opinion Spot Week ending. This is Mount Vernon Kid saying peace, one love, stay tuned, keep it real. As always, see what I bring to you next time. Other than that, you guys take care. Lost.